Three-row SUVs like this Toyota Highlander are supposed to do it all, with extra seats and extra space and a more rugged SUV body. Is this family hauler right for you? Well, we're the people to ask.
Edmunds drives, tests, and rates hundreds of cars each year. As trusted experts, we've teamed up with CarMax to help you make the best car buying decision.
This is a three-row SUV with seating for up to 8 passengers. It's about the same size as the popular and Edmunds highly rated Kia Telluride, a little longer than the Kia Sorento, and a little shorter than the Ford Explorer. Now those are on the long list of SUVs it competes with, and we have reviews on all of them that you can check out. You can find Highlanders with all-wheel drive and a fuel-efficient hybrid engine. Toyota redesigned the Highlander back in 2020 and made a handful of changes, including to the engine in 2023. Now that's what we have with us here today, but most of our impressions should cover the whole generation.
One thing to note is that on average, it's a lot less expensive to get a 2020 Highlander than a 2025. Even getting a 2023 is on average $5,000 more expensive than a 2020. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about your budget and what features are most important to you.
So if you're looking for a family hauler like this, reliability and crash test ratings are probably top of the mind concerns, right? Now, as you might expect from a Toyota, there's good news here. RepairPal, an independent reliability tracker, gives the Highlander an above average reliability rating. Now it scores high because the frequency and severity of repairs is below average compared to other vehicles. Now out of 26 vehicles, the Highlander ranked a very respectable 7th.
And in crash testing, the Highlander earned a top safety pick from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, along with a 5-star rating from NHTSA.
Okay, so those are the basics. So what are the reasons that you might pick or pass on the Highlander? Okay, so the Highlander is available in 5 trims, from fancy to baseline. Now in the upper trims, the first thing you notice when you get in is the standard 12.3-inch touchscreen. Now the 3 lower trim Highlanders have an 8-inch screen like what we have here.
Edmunds editors love the larger screen that comes in higher trim Highlanders. This screen is snappy, doesn't take a long time to load, and is responsive to touches. Regardless of screen size, you do get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with wireless connection and 3 USB ports up front and 2 more in the second row. The third row doesn't get any ports, which isn't uncommon, but it does limit how useful that row is. But more on that later.
There's also a wireless charging pad in this compartment under the touchscreen. Now the first 3 years of the Highlander's life, this charging pad was actually under the center armrest, which wasn't very convenient, so this is much better. We always recommend plugging in your phone because wired typically charges faster and it won't stop charging when you encounter bumps in the road. The Highlander has had 2 different engine options since its generation debuted back in 2020. Now this SUV that I'm driving has a 4-cylinder that replaced the V6 back in 2023.
In Edmunds testing, we found the 4-cylinder is more efficient and actually still pretty powerful in normal driving. That being said, on our test loop, we found that the old V6 is a little less noisy when you need extra power to get up a big hill. But otherwise, there's not really a reason to miss the V6. The Highlander drives very nicely, especially for an SUV of its size. And visibility from the driver's seat is also good, even when you got all 3 rows up. And Toyota did a nice job with the advanced driver aids on the Highlander. Adaptive cruise control, frontal collision warning, and a blind spot warning system are all standard on the Highlander, and the Edmunds team found them to work well. Adaptive cruise control works really well, while the lane centering and departure features less so.
Lane centering too often felt like you were ping-ponging between lane markers, and then the lane departure feature gave false alarms way too often. You're gonna spend a lot of time in this seat, so it's important that it's a good one, right? Yeah, it doesn't disappoint. Starting here, it offers a wide array of adjustments just to make sure that you find that perfect seating position. And look, we've been in all the competitors, and these rank near the top in comfort as well. Perfect for long road trips and those quick runs to the grocery store.
The limited trim Highlander comes with heated and cooled front seats, but you've got to get the top of the line Platinum trim to get heated seats in the second row. Like with a lot of Toyota vehicles in our experience, the heated seats are good, not great. It's a nice feature, but it won't thaw you out quickly during a Michigan winter. So you'll need something more heavy duty for that, like you'd find in a Ford Explorer.
The rest of the climate control system is pretty darn good though. Every Highlander comes with the tri-zone climate control system, which is just a fancy way of saying the driver, passenger, and second row passengers all have independent temperature controls. So yes, your kids can crank it up to 78 while you enjoy a normal person temp of 71. Luxury. Okay, how about on-road comfort? Now we've got good news there too. The Highlander offers a smooth ride over most driving surfaces. Now we have had some customers complain about a high-pitched whistling sound when the Highlander gets up to speed, but Edmunds didn't encounter that when they tested the Highlander, but they definitely encountered noise from the 4-cylinder engine. Either way, it's always a good idea to test out a vehicle on surface streets and on the highway before making a purchase. Getting into the Highlander is pretty easy as long as your final destination is one of the first 2 rows. Now the doors open wide and the floor is low enough that most passengers can get in easily. Installing car seats, especially in the captain's chairs, is very easy. Now every Highlander but the XSE and Platinum have an available bench. Now that brings us to the 3rd row, which, well, let's get into it. Let's face some facts here. The 3rd row in the Highlander is not great. Adults won't be comfortable back here, not even for a second, and kids will have a hard time getting back here because of how high the floor is.
And getting out is no easier, so be prepared to help out a lot. And with all 3 rows in place, like most SUVs of this size, you'll lose out on valuable cargo space. One of the Highlander's biggest competitors, the Kia Telluride, is just 2 inches longer, but has a much more useful 3rd row and better cargo capacity.
That said, the cargo space in the Highlander gets a lot better compared to the competition when the 3rd row is folded. So if you really only need 2 rows of seating regularly, but want a 3rd row just in case, the Highlander can make sense. But we recommend the Telluride over the Highlander if you plan on using the 3rd row every day, especially if you're doing so with cargo. So what do you think? Would you pick the Highlander for its great tech, nice road manners, and comfortable interior? Or would you pass because of that cramped 3rd row? Let us know in the comments and we'll see you next time.